It's been a love-hate relationship for hundreds of years, just like an elderly couple forced to spend the rest of their lives together for better or worse. Britain and France are two obligatory bedfellows who constantly fight, but who also eventually kiss and make up. King Charles III canceled his visit to France due to the ongoing industrial unrest here, but the fact that his first state visit was here to this country is a sign that that relationship is finally getting back on track after years of bickering over Brexit. Of course, France no longer has a king, but that doesn't mean the French are not fascinated by the Windsors, who offer them a real-life soap opera just across the channel. But what do the French actually think about the British royal family? For more on that, I'm joined on set by our royal watcher, Philip Turle. Philip, welcome. Let's start with a very easy question, first of all. Does Charles III even speak French?
Yes, he does. Charles III, like many British children, learnt French at school. He even passed a French A-level exam, so his French level is pretty good. And like his mother before him, he's able to converse in French, proof of this being him greeting the crowds in French back in a Canada Day in 2017. And France has visited, or Charles has visited France 34 times in his life. So he's pretty familiar with the country, and like his mother, Queen Elizabeth II, he's often heard speaking French when he is in France, and France was the late Queen's most visited European country with 5 state visits between 1957 and 2014.
Philip, a lot has been written about which French presidents the Queen Elizabeth II got on the best with. Who were her favorites?
Well, there were 2. The first one was General de Gaulle, who during a state visit in 1960 was full of recognition towards the young Queen for the help that her father, George VI, and the Prime Minister Winston Churchill had given him during the Second World War. It was in 1940 that General de Gaulle was allowed to broadcast from London via the BBC to France to call on the French to resist the German occupation. The other French president the Queen got on with was François Mitterrand back in the 1980s. He made no secret of his admiration for the British monarch. When one thinks of a queen, he once said, one automatically thinks of Queen Elizabeth II. And it was with François Mitterrand that Elizabeth II opened the Channel Tunnel in 1994.
Right, so those are the presidents that Queen Elizabeth II actually got on with. Were there any that she didn't get on with?
Yeah, there were a few notable cases. One of them was Valéry Giscard d'Estaing, the French head of state with whom relations were the coldest. Her Majesty is reported to have found him what she described as a little haughty. And the Queen wasn't too sure about Jacques Chirac either and his breach of protocol when he blew kisses to the crowd during a visit to London and a journey in one of the royal coaches. And yes, there was also a very tense moment with François Hollande after he cracked a joke in which he said, "Ma'am, I would like to follow something that's very English, a phrase which says, keep calm and carry on." That did not go down at all well in royal circles and did not get a smile from the Queen.
That's true. That phrase has been a bit done too much, I think. So let's look toward the future now, Philip. What about Emmanuel Macron? Does he get on with King Charles III?
Well, all leads us to believe that the French president and the British king, Charles III, do get on. The French president is 30 years younger than the British king, but beyond their personal relationship, they also have another mission, and that's to rebuild ties between Britain and France. As you were mentioning in your introduction, they've been seriously damaged by Brexit, the fallout over the fishing rights and the Northern Ireland Protocol. And there's also the question of migrants. So the fact that Charles chose France for his first state visit since becoming king is seen as a first step to improving ties. And even though that visit has not gone ahead, when it finally does, maybe this summer, it's sure to boost the sales of French magazines, which love the British royal family. They'll be busy publishing a whole host of new photos and gossip on their front pages, just as they probably will when the coronation takes place on May the 6th.
Absolutely. Philip, thanks so much, and we're happy to have you keeping an eye on it for us here on France 24. That wraps up this coronation countdown. If you want to check out more, you can always do it on the website, france24.com.